Let's take a look at the Zalman Z3 Plus case. Now the Z3 only came in white, but the Z3 Plus comes in black or white, and it's got a few more bells and whistles to make it a little bit nicer. The dimensions, 192 millimeters by 465 millimeters by 430 millimeters. First off, you can see there white plastic, here's white. This is made out of steel and plastic, and the front here mesh is all black. As you can see, we've got two 5¼ bays up on top, and then we've got a 3½ inch bay right there. Behind here, there's one pre-installed LED. It's the Z3 Plus fan. It's the LED version of that. And there's another spot where you can put a second 120 millimeter fan. And we'll take a closer look at that when we take the side or the front off, or the side off, either one. I don't know. Both. And then the side panel, you can see we've got an acrylic window. It's a stylized cut, and it looks right in on your components, like your motherboard and your CPU, graphics card, and that sort of thing. And it blocks out all of the, where your cables and where your hard drives are going to be mounted and that sort of thing. All right, let's take a look at the top here. The first thing you're going to notice is this is a button for your fan speed. There's a small fan controller in here for a couple fans, and you can run them in high or low, just whatever you want. Power button there, reset button, LEDs and all that jazz. Right behind that, headphone, microphone. Then we've got two USB 2.0 and then one USB 3.0. And then right here is an area, a lot of you guys lay your hard drives or your phones on top of your case. Well, they've started thinking, hey, people are going to do that, so let's make a little textured area where you can lay your portable hard drives or your phone or whatever and plug it up and charge it. Beyond that, we do have some vents here. Vents there. There's one pre-installed Z3 Plus fan. It's 120 millimeters. There's a spot here for another one, and you can fit a radiator in here. You can also fit a radiator in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and rip the front off. Now the front is on there pretty tightly, so you're going to give it a lot of force. There we go. It's so much force that it feels like you're not supposed to do it. It's really on there. After much force, I was able to pull off the front panel. And on the inside here, you can see we've got some foam for sound dampening, and also some foam back here where the fans go. This is going to help with dust as well. If you want to change your dust filters or clean this, there are some bendable metal tabs here, but it's going to be kind of a pain because you have to bend all these metal tabs and then remove the entire mesh in the front and then reinstall it. It's just going to take a little bit longer than a standard magnetic dust filter, but you can work with it. So it's the main thing, you can work with it. Empty bay areas here. There is your LED fan, 120 millimeters right there. And below it, as you can see here, there's a spot where you can install a second fan, right about there. All right, we have some plastic thumb screws here. They're plastic grip, and then of course metal for the actual screws themselves. Let's unscrew this. Oh no, it has jumped to its death. And there it shall lie. Also a little area here where you can put something in there to almost lock it if you wanted to. It's just also a guide. There goes the front panel. Lay it on the floor. All right, let's take a look at the inside. Two 5¼ bays here, and these are kind of strange. You have to push them up a little bit, and they pop out. And you open them up, and then you install your, optical drive or whatever you want to put in there. You just push it back in there. They're kind of weird. There we go. Below that, you've got your 3½ inch drive. You may be able to mount an SSD in there if it's thin. And you do a little bit of finagling. Also, these you can bend a little bit if you want to play with them. I mean, if you wanted to get creative, you could. There's your LED fan installed right down here. And right here is where you're going to install your 2½ inch drive, like your SSD or whatever. Installs right here. And the cable should be able to route right behind there. Right here we have 4 spots for 3½ inch drives. And it comes with these. You just put these on your drives right here. And it should slide in nice and toollessly. Now, I can't seem to figure out how to install more 2½ inch drives, so what you could do is you could buy drives like this one from ADATA. A lot of the ADATAs, I got the SX 900, they come with this. It's a little tray, and that tray will fit right into there, so that'll work with the toolless system. And I think Kingston has a few of these as well, or you can just get 3½ inch trays for your 2½ inch drives. Kind of unfortunate that it didn't already come with all the trays, because that would have been really cool just to have these trays in here, and then it'll let you, install any hard drives that you want. Now this is an interesting piece here. One of the things I really like about this case. First off, this is a guide that you can use for multiple different things. First off, it comes off. There's two screws here, so you can remove it. There's a screw up on top, and you just unscrew that, and then there's also a screw down here on the bottom. And in the middle here, we have these two, I guess, I don't know what you want to call these things. They're just guides. But you roll them up and down, and if you have a very heavy graphics card, you can put it in here and use it to brace the graphics card, add some support to the graphics card, and then tighten it up, and it will hold the graphics card there. So that can be really handy. This will support up to a 360 millimeter graphics card, so you can fit some really large GPUs in here. Once you get down here to this area, if like you're running Crossfire SLI, you're going to bump into this if you're running a huge graphics card, but even then, you should be able to fit like an R9 290X without any problems in here. The other thing that you can use this for is to mount like a fan or something. Let me come on in here. You can actually mount a fan to this and then tie them together, and then you can tilt them any direction you want to. You can point them the other direction. So there's some interesting options here with this, but I'm not exactly sure how you would use this. I mean, you could, if you wanted to get a little bit more on certain parts of the motherboard, maybe put it down here and have it blowing on the motherboard itself, or I don't know, blowing on your drive cages. It may create turbulence. If you wanted to just help the wind come from here to here and then on out the back, you could do that as well. Just make sure that it's not going to get in the way of any of your other components or your RAM. That's the one thing that would worry me, and it's certainly going to get in the way of some of the larger GPUs. So you'll have to play with this a little bit. But if you want to put a fan in there, you absolutely can. Just an option. All right. So back over here and take a look at the motherboard tray. Honeycomb design everywhere here behind the motherboard tray. Standoffs are already installed for a full-size ATX here. A couple of them are missing, but just the basic ones that you are going to have to use are already installed. And as you can see here, 7 expansion slots in the back. So that's pretty much all you need. Down here on the bottom, right there, that's where you're going to install your power supply. And there are 2 rubber pad areas on either side. Actually, this maybe not be rubber. It's kind of softer than rubber, but this is going to dampen and also give it a little bit of space so that it's not buzzing on the bottom of the case. And beneath that, we do have a dust filter. I'll flip this over in just a second and show you the dust filter. But first, I want to show you the back and the other side. One last thing to note, there's not really any way to do water cooling in this other than using a 120 millimeter water cooling unit here, like a resonator or something like that. You can install that right here. I typically go with really good air cooling over a small water cooling unit. I just find that they do a really good job. But if you wanted to, you could, do that there. Also in the top here, we have 2 more fans installed right up here. Can you see those? Yep. Yeah, we've got 2. These are the C3 Plus fans. 2 of those right there. And that's going to be an exhaust. So cold air is going to come in here, go through, and then exhaust out the back and out the top. And you'll probably want to put 1 more fan in the front just to, even out the amount of air that's coming in for the amount of air that's going out. But, it'll just suck air through the front, whatever. Create a little wind tunnel. All right, here we go, the back. And on the top here, we have 2 sort of medium-sized holes with rubber grommets. And that's going to be for routing cables, water cooling tubes, or whatever. If you wanted to put like an external unit on this thing, that might be your best option for water cooling, like mounting something out here on the back. I'm not sure exactly where you would mount it, but you could get away with that, or even having just an external unit sitting beside and then routing the tubes inside. Totally doable. All right, here we've got a nice large vent. This has a lot of vents. In fact, I might want to play with covering this up and seeing if it does anything to the airflow, because it's not about having a million vents, it's about net air displacement. They probably put this here for a reason, but it could let some dust in. Air is mostly going to be going out, but there's no filter and it's just there. It's just a large vent area. So below that, that's where your power supply is going to go. And now let's turn around and show you the back. All right, as far as cable routing goes, take a look down here. A lot of the power supply cables can come through here, and then there's absolutely no room here other than this little indented area. So you're gonna have to get a little bit creative. One benefit that we do have is the side panel does have an indented area similar to this. So all along here where there's the indented area, you can get away with routing some cables, and we have spots where you can tie them down. There's this center area here where you can route a ton of cables all the way up and then snake them off to your optical drives and to your CPU. Speaking of CPU, large cutout area here. so you can, you know, install your CPU cooling units and that sort of thing. More tie downs all around here. There's one there and there, another one down here. But if you're trying to like hide cables, you know, here in the side of the case, it's not going to work out. But they do have some interesting routing options. I also want to note that all of the steel on this is nicely rolled. So nice and rolled. You're not going to slice yourself on any of this. You can sit here and mess around with it all day long. There's no sharp edges anywhere. So good rolled steel. Thanks, Zalman. All right, let's flip it upside down now and show you the bottom where that filter is and everything. Actually a very lightweight case. Did I mention that this case is 6 kilograms, which is 13.22 pounds? There's a dust filter. Pretty easy to take out. Just fold it and then take it right out, and then it goes right back in. This is a very basic dust filter. If anything goes wrong with it, you should be able to go to your hardware store and get the exact same material and cut it with a pair of scissors. That's how simple this dust filter is. Nothing magnetized. It's just in there with these little, you know, steel lips or whatever around there. These are rubber as well. All the feet here are rubber. So it's going to help with dampening and not going to scratch your floors. It is kind of a harder rubber though. So, all right. So to sum it up, what we have here is a case that is probably rated in the budget class. A few decent options with it. They do advertise that the hard drive area is hot swappable, but it's not like a true hot swap where you just have like a PCB and you just slide it in there, slide it out. You're still going to have to unplug the drives and all that, but you can slide it in and out, and as long as your motherboard supports it, it will work with hot swap. I mean, you should have decent options for airflow going through this. I don't like the fact that there's not a lot of room for radiators. If they just would have given us maybe a little bit more space, make it a little bit longer. It's not that tall, but just make it a little bit longer. Maybe we'll be able to fit a radiator, or even a little bit taller, so we can fit like a radiator in the top. I'm talking like a 240 radiator or something. You can still fit your 120 millimeter radiator in there, so that's okay. But all in all, I've probably seen better in this price range. If you like the aesthetic and you like the features, it could be a good one for you. So it's all totally up to you. Yes! All right.